Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. See you.
Denver Broncos My Life, no commercials, no bullshit. Now we're doing our part 2 of our 3-part series on, there's 3 separate videos. One was on the Chargers game, the Super Bowl, I guess. And yeah, this one is on bribing coaches to come to the Denver Broncos. Let's take a sentimental trip back in time, back when the Denver Broncos were relevant, when they used to be that flagship franchise. Didn't it used to be that to get a job at the Denver Broncos, you didn't have to bribe somebody $20 million, right? What it was is vacancies didn't come up very often because it was a successful franchise, right? And coaches really wanted to come. You didn't have to bribe anybody. And I want to make a point about having an organization like that and vetting out coaches that actually want to be here versus coaches that you have to bribe to be here. I guess we can get into this. We already got the turd polishers trying to sell the moon again on the Denver Broncos with this game that they won with the Chargers. You do realize they lost 5 divisional games. And for some reason, the winning this game just kept them from getting swept. For some reason, the fan base is seeming, well, I wouldn't say, there's a certain segment of the fan base, and also the turd polishers, because this is how they make money, is off of these people's ridiculous Kool-Aid, this mentality they have, believing anything. This game was being sold, the Super Bowl anyway, this Charger Broncos Super Bowl, as it's going to revolutionize change. And, it's just, I can only take the BS so far. That's why we started a channel. We don't even get paid. And yet we were the ones who got it all right when they got it all wrong. We deserve, especially after all the crap that came our way, and we ended up being the ones that were right. So I just want to have you talk about the $20 million bribes going on. I'm going to talk. Let me talk about it just for a second. Then I'll have you segue in. So this is the way Dove Valley works now. It used to be, it was very hard to get a job with the Denver Broncos because they had success and successful coaches. So you had to be, top candidates wanted to come. Now it's $20 million bribes, right? So the way Dove Valley works, the way the PR machine works, is that you put out a source out there. This is how I want to get into this too. Just before I get into that, how they manipulated the Sean Payton. I think these two want to get it out of the way. Really is what they want to do. I want to get into how the bribing all takes place. The way things work. This is what I want to say is a fantasy here of what would happen if Pat Bowlen was saying, I want people to think about this. What would happen if Pat Bowlen said, I'm retiring. I'm going to retire and I'm going to sell the team. Nobody in my family wants to deal with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the team. I'm retiring from being an owner. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to help the new ownership, Walter and the Penner Group. I'm going to help this organization go forward the Pat Bowlen way of doing things, how to keep a winning franchise going. I want people to think about that for a moment. I want them to think about how this history would have been rewritten had Pat Bowlen sold the team and was working with the Penner Group and kind of phasing his self out and kind of showing them and leading them, as opposed to the trust way of doing things. Okay. Basically, and this is where I'm getting into the bribing part. This is how the trust works. So you send out, you have one of your media people put out $20 million to Harbaugh. Then you put out, Elway puts out to Adam Schefter, you put out that the number one candidate Broncos really want is Sean Payton. And that all may be true, but the way they do this is that they tried to get Harbaugh to bite, on this $20 million. Hey, we're interviewing Sean Payton. you better take it up. You better take it up, Harbaugh. You better take that $20 million bribe, or it could go away. It could go away. That's the sneaky sliminess that goes on now at Dove Valley. And I find out what's really interesting is that Sean Payton put out a statement here. I'm just going to read it real quick. And I think it says it all. It's a statement directly at the Denver Broncos. Hopefully I can find it. Yeah, here we go. It said, Payton later said, the Broncos are the only team that he's heard from so far. He implied that there is a 70% chance he could remain with Fox Sports. Payton, and this is extremely important, Payton also said that ownership and front office will influence his decision more than the city appeal or the team's quarterback situation. Now, was he speaking directly to the Denver Broncos saying that I don't care about your quarterback situation whatsoever? I want to go to a front office and an ownership that has their shit together. Go ahead and you can comment on anything that I just talked about.
Well, I just want to elaborate on the whole I want to be a part of an ownership and GM that shit together. Who are the two people that were saying that from the very beginning? You're truly right here. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't go ahead.
No, I'm just saying you're exactly right. Payton is saying exactly what we said when this ownership thing was going on, that you have to have a competent ownership in front office to attract. That's what I said. What would happen if Bolin was still here? We would have a winning organization. We'd have an organization that didn't go through coaches, and we would attract. We'd actually attract without having to bribe somebody to come here. That nobody in these other platforms will talk about this kind of thing. Go ahead.
Those other platforms are a bunch of idiots that don't know, their ass from the hole of the ground.
Well, no, I this is what I think they are. Is what I think is they're paid for by the front office at the Denver Broncos. Whatever that, because there's every one of them has one thing in common. They never ever say anything, too negative. It'd be a softball maybe thrown their direction, but they're always in agreement. Monolithically, they're all in agreement. Everything Dove Valley does, it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Absolutely. And, I've been, who is the guy that has been preaching this rooftops that you have to have the same vision in that or in an organization for that coach to succeed or anybody to exceed? You have to have ownership. You have to have a GM. You have to have a scouting department. You have to have player personnel, director of player personnel that have the same vision. The coach that has the same vision. You're absolutely right with Pat Bowlen. And you know what? I think most of these Bronco fans and people in that organization don't give Pat Bowlen enough respect for the thing that he fucking did for this team. And I sit here and ask myself this question: are most of these fans Raider fans? Because all we are now is a organization that cares about. This is how I call them the Trust 2.0. Is
Trust 2.0. Yeah.
And who was the guy? Who was the guy that was saying that? Me. I was the only person out there saying this. Me. I was the only person out there standing by my judgment and saying, you shouldn't be trusting and you were saying, well, if they get Elway out, and I get that. I understand that line of thinking, but you have to understand, just because you got new ownership in doesn't mean stuff is going to change. It's not going to change.
That's where I came up with the idea. Well, I'm agreeing with that by saying, instead of having the trust, it's like this. If you wrote a book, if the ownership of the Denver Broncos, current ownership right now, wrote a book, everything I ever learned about the NFL, I learned from the trust. Well, how would that book look like? And this is where I brought up what you were saying. What would it look like if Pat Bowlen, there was no trust at all, none. And it would have been if Pat Bowlen would have helped this ownership transition instead of the trust.
There was no owner. There was no owner, dude. This is where people don't do the deep research. This is where people don't do the hardcore facts. Is they don't understand that there was no owner in place at the time when the new ownership supposedly came in. The
Exactly.
wasn't there.
Exactly. So who took this new ownership by the hand? The trust, right?
The trust, Elway, Ellis, the people involved in it, and we'll get into this later. But man, I don't get it. This freaking franchise is more into getting a new scoreboard, paying $400K for a turf that it just looked like dog shit out there.
People slipping and sliding.
People slipping and sliding. $400K, man. We're into rebuilding the stadium instead of rebuilding the product on the field.
Yeah.
Type of stuff we're into now. This organization didn't stand for that shit.
No, you didn't get that garbage. It's not about. I mean, it's just like I want to say this. Let's get into this. If I was a trillionaire, right? And $20 million is chump change, right? To a trillionaire, chump change, right? Do I really, as an owner of an NFL team that actually wants a winning franchise, do I want to pay that? Do I want to bribe a coach to come coach my team, or do I want to do this? I could give $20 million to a coach, but what I'd rather do is get a coach that wants to come here, and then the franchise makes this coach. We make this coach where down the road he's successful, he's a winning coach like Belichick. Then we give you the money at that point.
Yes,
we give you the money at that point. I mean, even if I could pay, I want people that want to come here.
Yes. I want it, but you know what? At the end, dude, it doesn't matter. We're not into that anymore, man. We're not into, dude. Who wants to come here? Ask yourself that. Sean Payton.
You have to bribe.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bribe. We ain't getting Sean Payton. We're not getting Dan Quinn. We're not getting Frank Wright. We're not getting Jim Harbaugh. Okay.
Well,
the best.
Maybe if you bribe them.
But dude, it doesn't matter. We're going to bring out.
Yeah, well, yes. Let's play this hypothetical. Let's play a game of hypotheticals, right? Hypothetically, you bribe Sean Payton, okay, to come. You bribe. Two things come to mind. To me. One, when you bribe, he takes the $20 million or $25 million bribe, okay? Now hold on. Does he get, you took the bribe. Does a bribe come with strings attached? I have to ask that question. Are you really the head coach, or is the front office going to be playing, trust games? Number one. Number two. Number two, does Sean Payton, does his system in any way work with Russell Wilson
on this team?
What's that?
Does it work with anybody on this team? You do know that he runs a, you know what? I'm so done with this shit.
Go.
No. Hey, he runs a 4-3 under system. He runs a 4-3 system. He's coming into a team on defense that has 3-4 players. Number one. Number two, he runs a multi-zone run. He runs a multitude of things on offense, okay? I can't put a key on it, okay? But you're gonna sit there and tell me, as a Bronco fan, okay? Tell me how great of a fan I am. You're gonna sit there and tell me that Sean Payton is gonna we heard it again from Mile High fucking Huddle. Russell Wilson has been playing great for 2 weeks. Does that mean that he is gonna force Sean Payton to come to Denver? Like, are you fucking stupid?
He didn't play. Wait. Hold, time out. Did they forget last week's game?
Yeah, did they forget the weeks prior? People are so stupid. They're so stupid.
They're paid. They're paid.
No, they're stupid. They're stupid. I don't care if they're paid to spew the bullshit. They're flat out stupid. You sit there and tell me Sean Payton is going to want to come here when he said on Fox Television, Fox Sports Sunday or whatever it's called, he said the exact same thing we've been saying for 8 fucking years.
I know.
You have to trade for him. You still have to trade for him. He's under contract for 2 fucking years.
Well, what do they get? What do they have to trade? They've shot their load. What? Tell me what it is.
We got the 49ers first round pick. That's going to be in the 30s. Guaranteed fucking to you.
Well, of course it is.
What are you going to get there? Oh yeah, we're. Oh man, that's going to entice the Saints to trade him. Oh my God. Here we go. What did I say? The minute they fired Hackett? What did I say? I said they are going to oversell the head coaching job just like they do with the quarterbacks for the past 7-8 years. They're going to do it with the coach now.
Well, here's my take on Sean Payton.
He doesn't.
I don't think so either. I think that I look at him like Gary Kubiak, where he took a break from the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
Gary Kubiak took a break from the Broncos, but in his situation, I could see him, the defensive coordinator they have is still there. I think he's the head coach right now.
Yep.
He could easily just go back to being a defensive coordinator easily.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saints is the easiest option.
Good point.
For him.
Yeah, and you know what? He might fire Dennis Allen and bring in, who does he want to bring in as his DC? Oh, Vic Fangio sucks, right? James Marilat. But Sean Payton bring him in as his defense.
Well, he wouldn't have to do that with the Saints because they've already had a good run. But if he wanted somebody where else, absolutely you'd bring in Fangio.
Yep.
You'd absolutely bring Fangio in. But I think the Saints is a great option for him personally.
Good point. Yes, I agree.
If he wants to come back, I mean, if he decides, but the only way I could see him ever coming here, it'd be a bribe. It'd have to be bribe.
Well, again, I don't see Sean Payton. I think he's going to either stay on the analyst job that he has it, or he's going to go back to the Saints. Or number 2, Jim Harbaugh. He's not coming here. Okay, I don't want to hear all the bullshit about Jim Harbaugh.
He could take a bribe. He could take a bribe.
Michigan. He's staying in Michigan. Okay, I don't want to hear it anymore. He's going to stay.
He could take a bribe. He could always be bribed.
Well, again, do you think Jim Harbaugh is that stupid to come here?
Well, it may not have anything to do with smarts. It may have to do with benching and a paycheck.
Right. Get ready for another fucking
season. Like I said, if anybody comes here, if anybody is bribed to come here, are strings attached? Is he really a head coach with a say? I mean, what is he really going? Is he going to butt heads with? Oh, no, you can't butt heads. You signed. You took the bribe. I would rather see the guy they got right now, the Broncos,
Jerry Rosenberg.
Let's not bribe somebody to come here. If I'm not even sure if Rosenberg wants to stay here. If you got him to tell the truth.
Let me just say this. I got a notification. Breaking news. Bill Kollar just retired. One of the best defensive line coaches was unceremoniously removed from that position, in my personal opinion. And it's just see a guy like that go away, how low this team has gone. And I just want to shout out Bill Kollar. He was one of the best. And I said it. Gary, who brought him in? Gary fucking Kubiak? Again, I just want to shout out Bill Kollar.
Did you say something? Ship, exodus, leaving the ship, jumping ship? Didn't you?
What did we say? There's going to be a mass exodus. I think Ezra's gone too. He ain't going to want to stay here.
No.
Bullshit.
I think that's another coach that will need to be bribed to stay here.
Okay, you know what? We keep talking about the coaches. My focus is going to be on management. What is George Payton? I mean, if you're going to bring in a fucking head coach, don't you want to have the same vision from the like, what did Payton say? Ownership, GM, head coach. You don't have that shit. George Payton is just on a leash. Oh, we're going to fire him after the draft. That makes total sense.
Well, no. This has already been sealed by Penner. Penner gave Peyton the seal of approval.
Oh, God. He
Yeah,
did.
yeah. Wally says the ownership is serious. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to rely heavy on Sean Payton, and nobody's going to convince me different that Elway isn't lurking around, is going to be a part of the search committee. He was a part of the last search committee. Now, if I was going to take if I was going to take the ownership serious, they would have had to clear all the trust, got them all out of there. They're the ones that created this mess that they dumped on the lap of the ownership. The ownership doesn't have the sense. God gave a goose to clear house. You know, it looks to me they're taking a page from the trust and bribing coaches to come here, thinking that is just like a quarterback. They're going to wave magic wands.
Yep.
No, it's just I don't see the dysfunction leaving until the whole thing's blown up. And then it'll probably be a trial and error situation after that. So
I agree.
Yeah. Anything else on coaches?
I don't want to talk about coaches anymore.
All right. So we're done with coaches. End of part 2. We'll go to part 3, our favorite part. Best Broncos podcasters, winner takes all.